Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to our first installment of Daddy-Daughter Discussions. And this young lady who is on the air with me, you may have seen her before, maybe not, I'm not sure, but she is actually my daughter, Miss Patrice Johnson. She's 25 years old, and she lives in Louisville, Kentucky. And she came up with the idea for us to do this Daddy-Daughter discussion thing. And first, before I even start talking, I want to say, how you doing, sweetheart?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. And you know what? You and I, before we started, we were both talking about how we were both a little nervous, just even jumping out here talking about personal issues in front of, a lot of people. But we felt like it was better for the common good. It was actually your idea. You were the one who reached out to me when I was in South Africa, and you said, I think we should do something with father-daughter conversations so that it can benefit other people. And so, first, before we even get started on that, let me ask you this. What made you come up with this idea?
Well, I think what made me come up with the idea is I was just I wanted to do something that not a lot of people do on the internet because I mean blogging, talking about fashion, talking about hair, talking about celebrity gossip. That's something that people do all the time. But I wanted to do something that was a little different that could stand out to people and that could possibly change people's views because you hear so much about deadbeat fathers and majority of them they're black and daughters who don't have their fathers majority of them are black, and so I just kind of wanted to change the view and maybe inspire somebody to get into their daughter's life or inspire a girl to call up her dad.
Interesting. Well, I'm glad you came up with the idea because people know I'm a big fan of fatherhood and the call to fatherhood, and so I think sometimes you have miscommunication. You have people, and I know you and I have had to fight through that as well. And it's funny because I really give you a lot of credit for bridging some of those gaps that have been created. And it's interesting to me. One of the things I can say that I definitely learned from observing you grow up into the fine young woman that you are is how people change over time, how people evolve. Like from 15 to 20 to 25, and it's really made having you as my daughter just such an amazing joy and so much fun. So let me ask you this: when you talk about communication, we ask them, what would you like for us to talk about? Some people on my Facebook page, and we got a lot of responses. I mean, like, was it over 100? Because you were monitoring the responses. How many did we get?
I checked it yesterday morning and I think it was at 60
Mm.
responses.
Okay, yeah. So
So
we had a very active conversation where people
yeah.
were, it seems like this is kind of a broad issue that a lot of people kind of dealing with. And one of the things you said that you saw consistently, as far as things to talk about, was communication between father and daughter.
Mhm.
Now what do you do? Were people talking about any specific aspect of communication, or how did they kind of bring it up?
Well, first the people who did say something about communication were black men. So I figured maybe they didn't know how to communicate with their daughters, but it was childhood, teenage years, and adulthood.
Interesting.
And then that's when it went into dating and self-respect, self-esteem. How do you talk to your daughter? How do you become a good example in your daughter's life for other men and things like that? So,
Oh, okay. So it looks like people had a lot of different issues that they brought up, and maybe we can cover all of these in different conversations. It seems like it's so much to hit, because I do know that as a father, when you talk about communication, sometimes just as a parent in general, communicating with your kids seems kind of awkward. Like you don't know what to say, you don't know how to say it, you don't know if you're being too nice or you're being too rough or whatever. And so I know I've always struggled with that. How do you feel as a daughter when it comes to when you try to communicate with me and talk to me about things? How has that felt? Like what are the times when it feels good and when it feels frustrating?
well, I can say now it's a lot easier because I'm more willing to listen versus speak. And a lot of the things that you tell me actually make a lot of sense. If they didn't make sense, I think I would have. I think you know me enough to know that I would have told you that it didn't make a lot of sense. But being when I remember when I was a teenager, you and I we didn't communicate very well, and I think it's because when you're a teenager, you're trying to find yourself. So one day you want this, and then the next day you want that. So you yourself don't even know what you want, and I think that that's really hard for a father to follow, especially dealing with a girl, because I mean, a lot of men don't even know how to communicate with their wives who are the same age as them. So when you're trying to communicate with a 13-year-old girl, it can be very difficult because the girl probably doesn't even know what she wants anyway. And I know that that's how it was for me. So
Interesting. Well, it's funny that I one thing I can say I respect about you is that when you talked about making it easier for you to communicate with me, you accepted something that that you didn't quite do perfectly. You said I learned how to listen more than just talk. Well, one thing I didn't do perfectly that I can also that I would also have to concede is that I learned the importance of communicating with love. That love has to be the first thing. Love has to be the shell around your message, right? And like even one of our favorite pastors, or I think both our favorite pastors, Kevin Cosby, in
woo
Louisville. Yeah, we love Pastor Cosby, love that guy. One of the things that he said that really resonated with me was he said, "Before you correct, you must connect." And he was talking about speaking to youth in general, but I think that's triply true when you talk about your kids. And so one of the things that I did, I picked up on that when you said that you started listening more. I said, okay, this is great. She's really listening. So to show respect to the fact that you were listening, I made a better effort to make sure that you understood first and foremost before I said anything else that I love you and I care about you and I respect you and I appreciate you and I think you're amazing. And even though I always felt that way, it's like I think voicing that is important because sometimes
yes.
I think kids may not even know that their parents love them because the parents are so busy telling them what to do. What do you think?
hmm I definitely think that that plays a big part in it. I know for me, being not being told that you're loved by your dad, I think that that can definitely play a big part in relationships and the way that you handle men, not even boyfriends, but just like brothers, male friends, things like that. And some parents say, well, I don't tell you because I show it to you by paying the bills or by buying your clothes, and that's cool, but I would much rather be told as well as shown that I am loved, that you think I'm beautiful, that you think that I'm important, because those are things that girls, especially in their teenage years, need to hear. Now that I'm 25, I'm more stable to understand that whether you tell me that or not, I know that you do. I know that you love me, and so I definitely think that as a teenager, it does play a big part because you're wrestling with so many things. You're wrestling with your hormones and your ideas and thinkings of what you want to do when you become an adult, and so just not having someone in your life to try and keep you balanced, that can definitely play a big part in you slowly starting to go into different directions.
Mm. Wow. Well, that really tells me a lot because I think that everything you said about the way the father. There's a book I might have told you about this book called "My Father Is My First Boyfriend." Have I told you about that book?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting way to look at that relationship between a father and a daughter because I see that relationship can resonate in everything. And one of the things that I know that when you and I were struggling, one of the things that always worried me was I didn't want you and I to get to a point where you just didn't like me or were mad at me or even God forbid hated me or something like that. Even though I know that you never hated me per se. I mean, we sometimes we get mad at people or whatever, but I didn't want that to occur because my belief is that if a girl hates her father, she's going to find a reason to hate almost every man she meets. And I know it's true on the other side too. When a guy has a mother that he doesn't connect with or feels like she abandoned him or whatever, he goes around and he's doing one or two things. He's either a womanizer and abusing women, like using them up and moving on or whatever, or every woman he meets, he's looking for his new mama, one or the other. And I think it's important to have that foundation there. But I think that communication thing is very important. I'm glad you brought that up. And one piece of communication you and I had, and I think we can end on this, so that and just so anybody who's watching, we want you to give us more questions, give us more things to talk about because we're going to continue to do this. But you mentioned today, you told me that we have a partner, D.L. Hughley, partners with us on Your Black World, and sometimes he shares our articles. And he shared one of your articles. And so you had this big, pretty picture on the article. And tell me what happened after that.
That day I got about 30 friend requests from men. I didn't get not one from a woman, and they were all men.
So
Yeah,
all the dudes was looking for you after that, right?
I guess so.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I think that this was important for us to talk about because one of the things I said to you as your father is watching out for men on social media. A lot of girls, I think, look for this attention on social media, with the booty shots and stuff like that. And as a father, that concerns me because you got, not to say you do that. I know you don't do booty shots, but I'm saying, like, you got girls that really, I think, don't understand just how many vultures there are in social media. You got these men out here that will tell you any lie in the world to get in your pants and stuff like that, and you have to watch out for it. So as your dad, I was saying, okay, these guys, it's cool to be friends with them. Let them follow you on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, but be very, very cautious about that kind of thing. And so that's why I said to you, I'll let you get the last word, Patrice, before we bounce out of here.
I definitely think that it's important to watch out for the creepers, because some of them may come in a creeper-ish form, but others may seem very handsome, and they're PKs and preachers and this and that. So yeah, watch out for those creepers. They're definitely out there.
I tell you, what trips me out, Patrice, is like whenever we do a story about some dude that has like 30 kids with 17 women or something like that. The dude is always handsome. He's always a handsome guy, right? Think about it. You got to be handsome to be getting all that sex they having or whatever, right? And the guy comes off very nice and charming. And you be thinking, I mean, sometimes I swear, I even think sometimes, like when Ayanna Van Zant was talking to that one guy, I almost thought Ayanna thought he was cute. Like these men, they come in a certain kind of package, and it's like, I'm not telling nobody what to do, but you got to watch out for that type of stuff. So that would be my daddy-daughter advice to you for today, which goes for any daughter who's watching and also any father who's watching. I hope that we can help you. We're going to continue these conversations. We want you to join the discussion too. Jump in here, make some comments, ask questions. Let's have this broad conversation so that all daddies and all daughters can have the discussions they need to have. So I want to say thank you very much, Patrice. It was wonderful getting the chance to talk to you today.
It was good to talk to you too, Dad.
All right. Talk to you soon. I love you. And everybody, I love you too. And everybody who's watching, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. And this is Patrice Kenyatta Johnson from naturallymoi.com. And until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.